All right, guys, so we got the Jeep all fixed up and it's ready to go. So I just want to give you guys a heads up of what this video is all about. Now, ultimately, we replaced the oil pressure sensor and oil temperature sensor down below the lower intake manifold. But there's so many parts you got to remove to get to this point. And so this video is going to be really going through step by step on how to remove everything that you need to remove: the top manifold, the bottom manifold, all the hoses, wire harness you got to remove to get to the actual sensors themselves, and how to replace the sensor. So without further ado, let's get started. All right, guys, so we are looking down under the hood of a 2014 or 15 JKU, the 3.6. So they're all the same from 2012 or 13 all the way to 17. They're all the same. So we got a check engine light on this guy, and it's either the oil temp sensor or the oil pressure sensor. Either way, we got to replace both of them because we're gonna have to take off everything. So I want to share with you guys how to do that. So to get to that, we got to take off the upper intake. There's also a lower intake, and that's where the sensors are buried under there, which is crazy. And these parts are, you know, $15 to $20 parts, and it's going to cost you over $800 to $1,000 to do a simple job, which is a bummer. So again, I'm going to go ahead and mount my camera on the hood here. So what we're going to do, first thing we're going to do is you're not going to see on the camera is I flipped this lid completely over because we're going to need access way back over here. And we're going to disconnect the battery, and we're going to go ahead and start with this video on how to install these two sensors. So let's do it. So I got my scan tool plugged in here, courtesy of Innova, and this is the 5610 model. This is the high-end model that's going to tell you everything you need to know about your car, and that will be a different video. But let's take a look at what code it's throwing. In this case, it is P0197, and it's your engine oil temperature sensor. Okay, and these are just some information about, you know, possibly that's going to cause some major issues, so get it fixed. So with that being said, it's our oil temp sensor, so let's get started. May not have the Tighening filter system. If you have a factory one, it's a little bit different. So while we're in here, we're gonna go ahead and clean up the throttle body for my buddy. You can see it's super gunky. Oh, there's a crack right here on this vacuum hose. So I'll let him know about that. I'm just kind of looking around, trying to see what I'm getting myself into here. And you know, it's a good idea to put a video recorder on this type of project because there's just so many things you got to take off. If you don't remember how to put it back on, you can always rewind to your video. So there's a bracket right here. I'm gonna go ahead and try and remove this. Oh, that's a different size, of course. So my philosophy is always take off only what you need. Okay, we'll put it right there. And this is foam. Wow, that's really brittle. And this foam, looks like there's a clip right here. Okay, and that's just a little insulator. Okay, we'll leave this bracket on. Okay. I know there's a, oh wow, look, this whole thing is falling apart here. That's not good. So we want to be careful. Just know that this is falling apart because once we take off the intake, it's going to expose our engine to the internals, and we don't want that crumb to be falling down into the engine. Okay, we're going to go ahead and remove this connector right here. Looks like the MAF sensor. Okay, wow, everything is, plastic is super brittle. And that's just a plastic guy right there. Okay, let me remove this guy here. Okay, these are just the connectors to the throttle body. There's two here, one here. There are two bolts on this side, looks like, for the holds the throttle body together. I'm sure that's got to come off. There's another kind of a bracket right here I can see. All right, let me shift the camera over here. Okay, you might have a hard time seeing these two bolts. It's basically right down the center, just behind the throttle body. So let me see if I can get there. Okay, it's just a nut. It's like an L bracket. There's one more, two more looks like. Let's go ahead and remove that. Okay, these are actual bolts. Okay, let me get an extension here. And try not to lose this. Okay, the second bolt. And the bracket, here we go. So these are the two bolts right there. And the two nuts on top. Okay, I'm gonna remove these bolts. These are 8 millimeters. Okay, and then let's get these bolts over here on this side. Okay, so here are the two nuts. And I'm hoping that there's another set of bolts way down below, but because this thing moves out quite a ways, I'm hoping that I don't have to remove this whole bracket. Okay, so we'll find out here. All right, and then we got a couple more bolts right here. So this wire harness here, I'm hoping that I can leave this on, and if not, I'm not really sure how this thing comes out. But there are two clips right here that connects to this bracket, and we got to remove that bracket because that bracket is bolted down to the plastic cover here. But I wish I knew how to take this thing out. Oh, here we go. Here's a pinch right here. Let's push that in. Because I don't want to be fighting this wire loop. Oh, look at that. Wow, beautiful. Okay, that's going to be huge help. And you guys can see those two bolts now. Okay. So these are the two bolts here. Okay, so these guys right here. 1, 2. Is that it? Maybe there's one more. 1, 2, 3. I'm not sure what size that is. It looks really small. I think it's smaller than 8. Nope, these are 8. So here we go. One. Okay, little swivel right on this guy. Here we go. Okay, so with those 4 bolts out, this thing is pretty wiggly. Okay, looks like there is a couple hoses here. Looks like this one right here. That's the little vacuum hose. Okay, and if you guys recall, that bracket back here is out of the way. Okay, and hopefully this thing will lift out. Get this out of the way here. So just be very careful with these. These are plastic with a rubber tip on it. Just be careful removing that. If you break that, they're extremely expensive. Ask me how I know. And oftentimes these parts are very hard to get by. Okay. All right, so here we go. Just like that. All right, so with all the little stuff falling off here and there, I'm gonna shove some clean paper towels in here. Okay, let's remove this guy right here, this foam pad. Looks like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Gosh, do I need to remove this thing right here? This might be in my way. I don't know. Okay, we'll cross that bridge, but it looks like it might be in my way. Okay. Okay, that just stays in. There's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, this goes to, looks like this is a breather tube to your valve cover. Okay, so you gotta remember to put that on. It's kind of dangling there. Okay, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Oh, there's one more. I'm gonna try and get to it without the swivel. Oh yeah, okay. Your AC hose, just in the way, but they move it over just a little bit. It's all you need. Okay. And there's going to be some fuel rails, which is right here on both sides, and there's going to be 3 on each side. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to remove this. Can I remove this? So these plastic hoses, they're just in your way. Okay, is that the last one? Yeah, okay, so there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Okay, 8. Now, let's see, this is all one piece, right? So we got 3 here and 3 here. So this is all loose. What I'm gonna do is take off, excuse me, the wire harness. There's 3 on this side for your fuel and your injectors. I'm gonna pop those 3 off. I'm hoping that we can kind of lift it and just kind of lay it over. All right, so you can see a little red dot. This is your electrical for your fuel injectors. So generally these red things just kind of pop up, and that releases your wire harness. You can just pull it off the connector, and that's what I'm trying to do right now. Oh, there you go. You guys see that? Pops right up. Let me see if I can just work this up and out of the way. Oh, there it goes. Just kind of wiggle it, and it just comes right out. Okay, there you go. You guys can see that. Okay, it comes right out. So these are really tight in here. I can't get the camera too close. You guys can't see me on the camera, but I am literally sitting on top of the radiator housing, and I got my foot on the battery. Because 1, I'm not very tall. Okay. Okay, that one's off. And the last one, it's missing that red tab. Interesting. So somebody's already been in here digging around. And speaking of digging around, I want to make a point here. These blue gaskets on the intake, upper intake, see the blue? Well, from factory, they're black. So somebody has already been in here, and shame on them for not changing those sensors while they were already down in, you know, in the hole. I don't get it. This is why, this is how you know, my opinion, this is how you differentiate between good mechanic and not so great mechanic, is they would point out to you that, hey, well, we got this $1,200 labor job already in process. There are 2 sensors that we can replace, you know, they're $15, $20 parts. Why don't we go ahead and replace that? No extra charge. Okay, thank you. Yeah, don't get me going. Okay, so I got the passenger side off. Oh no, I gotta also remove these 3 wire harnesses as well. Okay, so I don't know if you guys can see this on the camera. So once you pull this red tab up, like I was saying earlier, there's a secondary black button you just push in with a screwdriver, and this thing pops right out just like that. Okay. Yeah, and then this back one is also broken. Undo this guy right here. Great little wire harness connectors. Okay, that's loose. This guy. Okay. I'm just gonna put it right here. Okay. So here she is, ladies and gentlemen. Oh yeah. See, this little black shit, this plastic stuff's already down on top of the valve right there. So let me grab my shop vac and vacuum all this up. Okay, I'm gonna put more fresh rags in here. All right guys, so we have the coolant temperature sensor right here, and just below it is your oil pressure sensor, and that's why the check engine light is on, because of that guy. Okay, so this is the replacement, and the connection is pretty simple. Looks like you just got to push down this tab right here. Okay, let me go do that. So this little red thing pops up. Not sure what that does. Oh, there we go. Wow, look at that. What's weird is that they mounted this thing sideways. And if you got a fat finger, and I don't have a fat finger, oh my gosh. And there's no room here next to the engine block. This is 19 millimeter. So we're just gonna work this guy out of here slowly. You know what I'm going to try and do? I'm going to try and maybe tighten it so I can bring that tab on, turn it, you know, 90 degrees, so I can get to the top of the clip there. So what I do is I grab my one crow's wrench. It's 1 1/16, and I was able to twist it just enough basically I had to tighten it just a little bit so that I can see how to take that thing off. So in this section of the video, I want to show you guys how to take that thing off. Let me zoom in. Okay, so this piece right here, you can kind of see there's a gap right here. You can probably stick a screwdriver in there, which you don't need to do. Just come over here and just lift just a little bit, lift, and then, lift and then push out, push back, and that harness, the connector comes off, just like that. Yeah, so I couldn't find any video. Nobody explained how these connectors these two connectors come off. In their videos, they just had it off. So if nothing else, hope that this part of the video helps you guys out. I forgot that I bought a bunch of SAE wrenches, or wrenches from my new F-150, old school. And here's one and 1/16. So let's see. Oh yeah. Let me see if I can get this off with my fingers. Oh yeah. Let me zoom in here. And this thing wasn't on all that tight either, by the way. Okay. All right. The Daimler Chrysler. This whole job for this little guy right here. So if any shop, is doing this, whatever job, if they're replacing this right here, have them replace the two sensors, please. All this for this, I'm gonna say around $20. Sensors are not that expensive. Good Lord. Okay, we're gonna go ahead and put everything back together. So this particular oil pressure sensor is made by Dorman. So this part already has a sealant on the thread already. So that makes it real easy. And I hope that this will just go right on without any issues. Okay, I'm gonna go up until that's harness, the clip is facing up. So if anybody else has to do this in the future, you won't be fighting it like I was here today. Okay. Okay. Oh, my back. All right. So you're welcome. And you can see somebody already has been in here because there's a red clip that goes right here. Yeah, it's no longer there. Okay, and then same for the oil and coolant temperature sensor. Here's the part number by Dorman. Okay, and then this one is a 19 millimeter. And again, this also has a, the sealant on the thread. I'll go just a little bit more so that the clip is facing upright. Okay. Okay, so there you have it. The two sensors are in. Now we need to replace the gaskets on the lower and upper manifold. So it's these guys right here, these blue gaskets. So apparently these were done about a year ago. We're gonna just go ahead and take it out and put new ones in. Again, these are also made by Dorman's. All right, so all of these just comes right out. If you have a little tiny pick like this, it's really helpful. Oh, I just noticed there's little grooves right here on the manifold that you can kind of scrape the gaskets off. Look at that. Oh yeah, so much easier. Okay, and before we put new gaskets on, we're gonna clean it up here. Just get your 2-finger and get in there. And these things sits in there really nice. These gaskets have little shoulder or tabs. I don't know if you guys can see it on the camera. Just kind of helps hold it in there. As you're flipping this thing upside down, it's gonna give you assurance that it's not gonna fall out. just make sure that it's all the way in equally, all the way around. You won't have any problems. So now I'm going to go ahead and start pulling these things out of the manifold. Okay, I'm gonna run the vacuum through here one more time, because as you guys can see on the camera, there are some little things that's kind of falling down already. All right, guys, so we are ready to slide this guy in there now. Let's just make sure that we got everything out of the way. Okay. Wow, that went in there really nice. This went in really easy. And I'm just gonna go around and hand tighten this. I want to give you a quick update. I mentioned earlier that I didn't want to remove the fuel rail, and here's the reason why. So you can remove the fuel rail if you want to, but there's absolutely no need. But the procedures does say to remove it, but then you also got to remove the wire harness regardless, right? So why do extra work when you don't need to? But that's an option. Now, if you do remove this, there is a sequence to tighten this thing down. They recommend that you do 1, 2, 3, 4. And if you do decide to remove the fuel rail, there's only 4 bolts. And this is the sequence to putting it back on. 1, 2, 3, 4. And this is your oil filter right here. All right, so now we're ready to torque down our bolts on the lower manifold. And this is the sequence. And what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna go up there with my marker and I'm going to just mark it on the manifold, so as I'm going through the video you guys can see the sequence. Okay, and then these will be torqued down to 106 inch-pounds, and then same for the lower, I'm sorry, the upper intake. So this is the upper intake manifold sequence. Okay, so this is number 1. This is our oil filter right here. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. That's the sequence. And then these are 45 inch-pounds. Okay, so again, I'm gonna go ahead and mark that on the manifold so you guys can see that in the camera. All right, so we're gonna go ahead and take your inch-pound torque wrench and set it to 106 inch-pounds and start with number 1 right here. Okay. And for the sake of the video, I went ahead and replaced all the new gaskets. They were blue and now they're new green Dorman. Okay, I've got this throttle body air intake cleaner. We're gonna just spray a bunch in here. We're gonna go ahead and get all that gunk out best we can. Okay, and then the 2 bottom screws goes right here and right there. We'll go ahead and use an extension and a ratchet on this one. And just nice and snug. you can see, the throttle body is nice and shiny. Got that cleaned up. One thing I want to mention here, remember I said earlier in the video that this rubber vacuum hose was broken. Well, I'm gonna go ahead and replace this whole thing. I'll go down to Napa and get a replacement hose. This one goes on here like this. All right, so we pretty much finished up here. I ended up putting in a new evap hose right here. This was the broken one, if you guys recall from an earlier video. So I went down to Napa and just bought a 1-foot-long hose, and I just cut it to length, and bam, that's it. So now we got it all put back together. I'm gonna go inside and fire this thing up, and let's just see if the check engine light has gone away. All right, so let's go check it out. Hey, there you go. The check engine light is off and everything sounds smooth. Let me give a little throttle here. Make sure there's no vacuum leak. Yep, it sounds good. If there was a vacuum leak, you would hear it. It would cut out, like stutter between the RPMs. So it sounds good. No check engine light. Fantastic.